You're listening to the World's Team Podcast. It's not just America's team, Cowboys Nation. It's the world's team. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Stewart and Mike Poland.
How about them Cowboys?
What is up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the World's Team Podcast, brought to you by the Believe Network and sponsored by Cowboys Experience for game tickets, stadium tours, all the above. Be sure to go to www.cowboysexperience.com and use the discount code The World's Team. I am your host, Paul Stewart, and joined with me as always, I am joined by my brother and ours, Mr. Mike Poland. How are we doing, bro?
Yeah, I can't complain. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful weekend. So what more can you say? And it's draft week now. The draft is coming.
Yeah. Are you going to get yourself prepared and watch draft day as a tradition?
It's a tradition, so yeah.
I think that's now become the norm every year. That's the only time you'll watch that movie. And in case anyone's not knowing what we're referring to, we're talking about the film starring Kevin and Costner, talking about the Cleveland Browns. Like that movie about draft day, moving up for, like, what was it, Bo Callahan? Whatever,
That's
isn't it? But they went with Vontae Mack. But this is now basically the knife edge when it comes to the draft. Like, everyone's now finalizing the board. They're now getting ready for Thursday night, which will be the night of the draft, which will be going live on the UK Cowboys fans. Not on the World's Team. We'll be doing our recap show on the World's Team, giving our thoughts and opinions about day one, doing another episode on day two, and doing an episode on day three. So that's where we'll be doing. But if you want to join us live, we will be with the UK Cowboys fans. So be sure to join us there. And yeah, we'd love to have you guys involved with the discussions as the draft unfolds. A lot of coffee is going to be a lot intaked for sure, Mike. Coffee, energy drinks, all the above. Because obviously the time zone difference is going to, as always, is going to be an absolute nightmare. But this is what we do. We love it. Like, we stay up to silly hours in the morning just to watch football. Not to mention, it comes to like the coverage of the NFL draft, etc. So we're used to it. That's why we're wearing baseball caps. We have no more hairline anymore.
Nope. Yeah, and also because of what Jerry does, he makes us lose hair too.
Yes, that is the pending question. What is Jerry going to do in this year's draft? Now, as some people may be aware, there has been a lot of mock drafts by all the leading analysts for their respective networks, right? Like, respectful to a degree, yes. Like, some of them you can take them with a pinch of salt, but respectful ones like the Dane Butler, like, I trust his judgment full on. Like, the guy knows his stuff. And very interestingly, he has the Dallas Cowboys trading with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what they're doing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I understand the idea. You're not necessarily losing much in the particular trade that Brugler did because they all get the second round, so they go down one. But they do go up, which is interesting. Yeah.
I mean, as we know with this year's draft class, don't get me wrong, it is a defensive draft class this year, but there's levels between this defensive draft class. There's only maybe 4 or 5 players that you can consider as blue chip players are going to be instant impact players for your football team. Players I'm talking about is like Averill Reese, David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs. 3 of them of which are Ohio State, mind you.
Reuben Bain.
You can add Reuben Bain in, so 6 technically. I mean, Monsoor Delane, I suppose, in a way, yeah, it could be there, but if that's the player that's there at 12, for example, then you obviously are going to take him because it is a need for us for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, but below that, then obviously there's some still amazing players out there, obviously, but in terms of like the complete package, so to speak, there is still kinks in their game. Like, for example, like my guy Jacob Rodriguez, who I love, and I won't stop talking about him. Obviously,
yeah.
Like, obviously, there's the size difference. Like, he's not your typical, like, all the measurables for a good linebacker. Like, he's quite undersized in that regard, but he kind of makes up with that with his, like, knowledge of the game and being at the right position and making the tackles when necessary and drop it back into coverage. So there is that. Then you've got like Anthony Hill, like, obviously had a down year last year, but when you look at statistics, he's probably got more statistics than some of these guys are up there in the top 5 right now. So it really depends what flavor you want to go with here. Like, and I know I'm just talking specifically about linebackers because me personally, I think that is one of the biggest needs. And now, when you look at the likes of why would the Cowboys move up to 6, you may ask? Well, my theory is there's one player and one player only. Well, technically 2, but I don't think David Bailey's going to be there. If he is there, then obviously that would be the pick.
I think he might be.
But I think the pick will be Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State. That to me makes much more sense because, like we said on our previous recorded episode, Brian Schottenheimer has said he really wants to address linebacker. Really, really wants to address it. And what way to do that is get Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love that to happen. Like, theoretically, if the Cowboys were to trade up, obviously we would move from 12 to move up to 6, and obviously we would likely have to give up the 2 first rounders to get number 6, and possibly get their second round draft pick, which I believe is number 39 overall.
Yes.
So, and that's what you were kind of saying earlier. It's quite a fair trade in that regards, because that means the Browns can actually have 2 first rounders with their fifth year options. They can get their offensive tackle, much more better value for money, and get someone else that they can actually really bolster up their squad in that regard. But for us, we really need that blue chip player back in our defense, regardless. Like, we really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike. But give me your thoughts though on this, Mike.
I've always liked Sonny Styles. I loved it. 2024, massive year for him. 100 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, bunch of sacks, interceptions, and he follows that up the following year. And he whacks out 82 tackles. I think 7 tackles for a loss. There's like 1 or 2 sacks in there. Amazing player. Just like very cerebral as well, which is what's important. You've got to have, I think, the linebacker position. You've got to be, you've got to have the instincts. And this is coming from a guy who was essentially a safety when he first started college football. He was a safety, moves over, but when you talk about the coverage skills, because it's not just the tackling and everything else, the coverage skills. I think coming from a safety, a defensive background, he's got that mindset in his mind of being hit, in how he's able to do it and cover tight ends and running backs coming out of the backfield. But he's just a rare size speed guy. The movement skills are just elite.
They're elite off the chart, whatever you want to call it. He was the star of the show of the NFL Combine, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Like people had him possibly being like the 13th, 14th best player in the draft, and obviously then when his Combine happened, everyone was like, "Oh, we may have to reassess him now." Now he's a top 5.
Mm.
Like, it just shows like the Combine can do absolute wonders for your draft stock, and Sonny Styles is a great example of that. You could say with other players also. There's Malachi Lawrence, the defensive end from UCF. I think his draft stock risen up from being a late second rounder to possibly maybe sneak into the first.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some offensive linemen are really like taking a stride up as well. Wide receivers also. Maybe not so much going into the first round, but the ones that have kind of like solidified themselves in the first round are fine. But ones maybe like your Omar Cooper Jr., like I think he will get selected in the first round for definite now. Like I think in terms of that, that's something that just can kind of be aware of. But looking at this, and it wasn't just Dane Boogler it did to this trade. Our infamous Mel Kiper did the exact same trade Dallas trading with the Cleveland Browns and picking Sonny Styles at number 6. And in a way, I actually kind of respect that. I think he actually has actually made a really good, accurate projection on this one. And we're seeing likes of on the Rich Eisen show where what was his name? Ian Rappaport was also on the show, and they're talking about what team is most likely going to trade up. Without hesitation, it was the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you brought this to my attention, I think it was last week on the UK Cowboys fans, mate. It's like the Dallas Cowboys are probably the most infamous when it comes to trading in the first round than any other team in the NFL.
I mean, look at the Micah Parsons one. That's the most recent one. I mean, it wasn't a trade up, it was a trade down.
No, Tyler Guyton.
Oh, Tyler Guyton, yeah, of course, yeah. But you see the pattern emerging. Of course, Tyler Guyton. But you see the pattern that they'll move in the first, and they're quite happy to be quite fluid with it. The only thing, and I've written a piece on this, it's what the trouble is when they draft for need in the first round, it kind of fails. When they stay fluid and they stay open and they make some moves and then they just draft whoever that best guy is, which is why trading up makes a lot of sense. They strike, and they strike in that first round a lot.
Yeah, the one that really kind of strikes me the last time they properly did it was Des Bryant.
Yeah, there's another example. And, sometimes they'll let the ball fall to them. And a good example of that is CD Lamb. CD Lamb, they didn't try and push, and they didn't be like, oh, right, CD Lamb's fallen to us, but we need to draft a need. We'll draft the best player. When they draft the best player, you can go all the way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they draft Alvin Harper, right? Back in the 90s. Look what he did. Helped the Cowboys. And I think it's understated what Harper did in the first round to help the Cowboys achieve Super Bowl success. People overlook what he did. But then when they draft for need, the guy before that, a few years before, Danny Noonan, the defensive tackle, and everybody expected him to be this big guy. And it's just a good example of they draft for need and they don't quite strike. But when they draft, when it's the best player on their board, they strike. And that's why trading up makes sense, because you'll trade up, you'll get the best guy on your board, and then you'll wait. Okay, you don't get the 2 first-round picks, but you'll get an early second, which is practically a first. You just don't get the 5th-year option. You can now get your other guy. If they go out and get Sonny Styles in, say, with pick number 6, I think the move there, because you look at the names who are available there, that's a great place to take a cornerback.
At 6?
No, in the second round.
Oh, in the second round. Yes.
So you take Sonny with pick 6. Then when you come to your next pick at pick 39, that's the sweet spot for cornerbacks.
Or even defensive end, because there's
defensive end's a good place there. Yeah,
I mean there's options, but there is another scenario which was kind of brought to my attention last week, and apologies for the lack of recorded episodes, but in case you haven't missed it, folks, we had a massive live stream the other day there, having representatives from all over the world who are fans of Cowboys Nation. So we had a Cowboys fan from Canada, Eduardo Flores from Mexico, who was the NFL International Fan of the Year, True Blue Show Italia, which is Alessandro Correa. We had Vinny Lanoris from Blue Star Brazil, El Shango from Cowboys Nation Germany, and we had our good friend J Tuck in represent the US. So we did an international mock draft. So that's what we were kind of building up for that the past maybe week to 10 days. So apologies for the lack of episodes coming out there, but we are back in the stride now. But what I was just about to say there is, with the news I kind of heard last week, and this was something that was brought to my attention on the UK Cowboys fans, as Baltimore Ravens. Now,
come on then, go for it.
Now, this is very interesting, and people are asking why we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'll tell you why. Because not and this has been confirmed by Yahoo Sports and various other sources within the NFL world, like good, like respectable reporters, like Adam Schefter, etc. The Ravens posted something on their website regarding trying to acquire George Pickens, which I thought was quite interesting. Now, obviously, the Ravens do have money to play with a little bit. They do want to make a splash by helping their new head coach, help Lamar Jackson out in terms of the wide receiver core. I get that. Now, the question is okay, what do we get if Pickens was to sign for them? Well, obviously, the minimum we would get is 1 first rounder, but the max would be 2. Now, just hypothetically, yeah, Mike, if this was to go through, right, we pick up the Ravens' first round pick this year and possibly a second. Maybe not this year, but maybe onto next year. Now, that could, if that was to happen now, we now have an issue now. We need to readdress wide receiver again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're getting a pick back from the Ravens, even if we say it's a second round pick this year, maybe a first next year, you could do it that way, right?
Yeah, that would actually, I would much prefer that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So basically, you're going to use that pick to pick up a wide receiver. The thing is wide receiver, we see it every year. It's always plentiful in the draft. College, it just managed to get these receivers through a really heavy rate. And wide receiver we're seeing as well at the moment is the price on these receivers are going up, and up. Like they're the second most expensive position. They get in that way. I know it's defensive end, but they're creeping up quick. The money's going up fast. So
yeah, well, funny that you mentioned defensive end. I'll let you return what you're saying, but obviously Will Anderson just signed a 3-year, $150 million deal. That's $50 million a year.
Crazy money.
That's mental. It's basically the same equivalence to Patrick Mahomes' annual salary.
It's quarterback money, and wide receivers go in that way. So a good way to ensure that you continue the pipeline of talent whilst keeping the cost down is to draft guys. So you just use that pick that you get from the Ravens. It'll clear some money off from the George Pickens sign-in or franchise tag. So you'll manage to recoup some of that money, and then you've made a saving, and now you're looking at the next line of guys. Bearing in mind, whoever the receiver you get in, and let's say it's a second round guy, which there's some good receivers in the second round that they can take, then you're basically going to put that guy in with the likes of Kevontae Turpin, CeeDee Lamb, Ryan Flournoy, who all were looking fairly good. What you're after is a true wide receiver wide receiver 2, because CeeDee Lamb is your 1. So you're looking for a true 2. I know you like Flournoy. I just see what the Cowboys have on this roster is a lot of wide receiver 3s and 4s. They don't have a true 2.
Yeah.
This rookie will be, as he progresses through this season, will be working his way up to be that number 2.
Yeah, I mean, the best example, like, if you're talking about maybe like second round, third round, the best example I could think of is Michael Gallup, who became a true number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, you can get those guys in that round. And, if you go and you think like, well, with the Cowboys, where they're sort of, if you're looking in the 30s, I mean, there's plenty of wide receivers in there. I mean, depending on which way you want to go. I mean, you've got Concepcion. I don't know whether they would go that way because he's a bit of a gadget guy, and the Cowboys already have that. But there's plenty of other guys that they can shuffle around and look at. But at the same time, if you've got 2 seconds, which you effectively would if, say, you did the trade where you went up for Sonny Styles and come down to 39, then you get the trade with Pickens. Now you've got 2 2s. So now, you can play around a lot with that. You can move around in the board. You've got so much room to maneuver.
Yeah.
And you've got guys like Chris Bell, Chris Braswell, all these guys become open to you who can easily come in and help reshape the offense with Pickens gone.
Yeah, and that's if that was to happen.
Yeah.
Like, but as much as it does sound appealing, I would like to keep Pickens, but realistically, how is this going to work? Like, because if I was like, I can like for likes of Pickens, why would I play underneath the tag?
I wouldn't.
Like, it's now up to that point where we were there at this point last year thinking about trading for Pickens last year. Now we're thinking about letting him go.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he was a great player for us for that one season.
Fantastic, brilliant. I mean, like the issue we've got now is they've tagged him. Pickens wants a long-term contract, rightly so.
Yeah.
Cowboys are looking at it going, how's that going to fit with the cap? What about our other options?
Well, the thing is, the Cowboys have tried to negotiate, but the fact is the agent is not willing to, like, from what I've heard from reports, is not really returning the calls. But the really weird thing is the fact that no other team has made approaches to George Pickens and his managerial staff. This is the first time we've heard something of any material coming from Baltimore. That's the first time we've heard.
Talking of that, which is a bit of interesting news for you, that the deadline's almost up for Brandon Aubrey. And no team has come forward and put in a tender, which means that effectively Brandon Aubrey will be playing under the RFA option that was on in the restricted free agent tag. Means he'd be playing for the Cowboys this year on a 1-year contract for about $5 million.
There you have it. Because I think a lot of teams will be like, we know Brandon Aubrey's really that good, but do we want to spend more than, like, who's the highest paid again? Is it Buckner?
Yes.
Like, I think he's like on like $7.5 million a year or something like that, roughly. So why would teams want to kind of pay that amount of money on a skill position player like a kicker? But don't get me wrong, kickers do win you games. Brandon Aubrey is a prime example of he has gotten us out in so many bad situations by scoring more points than our offense at times.
Yeah, we were there for 2 of them.
yeah, we were. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like, I just don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's definitely a crazy season when it comes to the Cowboys. But bringing it back to this first round, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I think it was Daniel Jeremiah. It was on DLLS with Jeff Kavanaugh and all the guys from there. And he mentioned one particular player, and he doesn't know if it's going to be 12 or 20, but there's a lot of strong links. Like, this could be one of the picks. And when he mentioned the name, I was like, oh no. Like, I was not impressed, and that's Keldrick Faulk.
Yeah, I mean, so if we don't retain Clowney, right? Here's the thing: he's really good. Keldrick Faulk, really good against the run, fantastic against the run. He's a 4-3 defensive end, mind, at Auburn. But if the Cowboys don't keep Clowney, who's the guy? Who's the edge defender who's going to set an edge against the run? I know what you're saying, because the sacks are very low. The sacks and the tackles with Faulk are like not there. He's a run defender. And it always seems to be, and we go back to what we were saying now, where when the Cowboys draft for need rather than the best player, it's like, to me, Faulk would be drafting for a need in the first round. And that's when these picks fail. He's a great edge defender, don't get me wrong, but he's very one-dimensional in what he does. Is that worthy of a first-round pick?
I just don't have that as high regard, because you don't really see, like, run stopping defensive ends go up so high. Like, when is the last time you see not a pass rusher defensive end go that high or talked about that high in the first round? You hardly ever hear it. Even our Like our beloved DeMarcus Lawrence is obviously he's just won a Super Bowl with Seattle. He was never a first rounder. He was in the second round. Like you see, and if you want that more high impact players, it's mostly the pass rushing style defensive ends that do elevate going into the first round. Falk is not that type of guy. He is not a pass rusher. And the fact that he's been talking like he could be the 20th pick, I'm just like, I think that's a bad. I would rather reach and get likes of Rodriguez or Anthony Hill if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy last year with Keldrick Faulk, 29 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks. The production is questionable. The year before, 7 sacks. So you go, okay. But you're not really looking at a guy who's going to get you double-digit sacks at all. He's really good against the run. But what it is with him, it's that he doesn't have the twitch to get off, the explosive get off, which is what lets him down. But he's insanely strong, which is why he's so good against the run. You know, when it comes to defensive ends, like look at DeMarcus Lawrence, right? Why was DeMarcus Lawrence always on the field so much? Because he knew and he worked at his craft at being able to stop the run. Because if you're an edge defender and you can stop the run, you'll be on the field a lot more.
But the difference between like DeMarcus Lawrence, he does have pass rushing capabilities.
He did have some, yeah.
So, and that was even when he was at Boise State. Like, he was more raw, obviously, but playing at Boise State. But he showed that he can do both. But primarily, he was a run stopping defensive end. But when asked, he can do pass rush. So, but whereas Falk, that's my big question mark with regards to that whole idea. So I'm not convinced with that whole analysis and that. If that's the pick, I would be quite disappointed, considering what we could get instead. Like, even the fact that, like, even though I'm out on CG Allen, I would have been more happy of us drafting CG Allen rather than Keldrick Faulk.
No, I'm not with you on that one.
I know, but you get my disappointment.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's where I'm at with that.
Okay.
So I just don't know what to make of it. But yeah, folks, let us know in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know what you think about the mock drafts from Mel Kiper and Dane Brugler and the possibility of what Daniel Jeremiah has been saying to the DLLS guys about Keldrick Faulk. We'd love to hear your input on this. But finally, Mike, I guess the big question is, do you think the Cowboys will do it?
I think they... Here's the thing, right? Here's why I think they will do it. This is my reason why. And it's Mel Kiper, right? And I'm not a great fan. I know that's crazy to say coming from me, right? And I give you my reasons. Is that Mel Kiper is scouting. Okay, you could take it with a pinch of salt. But one thing he's always really, really good. I don't know why or how or who he talks to, but when it comes to what Dallas are going to do in the draft, he's always very, very fairly accurate when you go through it. He's really wrong. And it's not his scouting capabilities or what he's thinking. It's obviously somebody he's got a connection with.
It's his connections. It's basically all word of mouth from good sources that are like, we're thinking doing this and thinking doing that. Yeah, like it's and that's basically what it is, and that's how we kind of like we know likely. Like, me personally, I think the trade will happen.
Yeah, I think
so
too.
I think it really just does depend what the Jets, Arizona, and the Giants and all that do before Cleveland. I think that's the defining de facto.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's not for definite that they will do it, but if the right player is there, like say Bain, I don't see them trading up Styles. I don't see them going up for downs. I just don't see that because it's more. Not that he's not an elite player, but because of the position. Whereas when you talk about Bain, and Styles, it's more of a very... That's a centrifugal piece where safety kind of isn't. Yeah, so if those players are there, get ready for the jump. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm just very intrigued to see what's going to happen on Thursday. But yeah, like I said, folks, me and Mike, and along with the rest of the UK Cowboys fans, we're going to be live on the UK Cowboys fans live stream covering the NFL draft as it happens, unfolds, reacting to every pick on day 1, day 2, and day 3. But here on the World's Team, we'll be doing our recap show following after each day of the draft, so be sure to join us there. If you haven't followed the World's Team, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. But before we do though, Mike, please tell everyone where everyone can find you.
You can find me on Twitter or X at Kenfig Cowboy. Kenfig with a K, Cowboy with a K, and you, Mr. P.
Find me at I am P-Stu on X and Instagram. All right, folks, it's almost time. The time is almost upon us. The NFL draft is on Thursday. We're going to try and do one more episode, give you our final mock draft before the draft, and just see how, and we're going to kind of use that as our guide to say how far off and how correct we could be based. We're only going to do the first round based on all 32 teams. We're going to make it a little bit different.
Let's throw in trades as well with it.
Yes. So we're going to do just the first round only. All 32 teams first round, just to kind of see how day 1 works out, just to see how accurate we would be on the real draft. So we're going to use that as a type of balance sheet, so to speak. But yes, folks, be sure to join us. In fact, it could be Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, something like that. We'll work it out. You know us.
We'll work it out. But anyway, as usual, folks, it's not just America's team. It is the World's Team. We'll see you guys next time, all right?
That's a wrap on the World's Team Podcast. Smash that like button and hit subscribe, Cowboys Nation. This ain't just America's team, it's your team. Touchdown! It's the World's Team, only on Believe, where real fans live.
How about them Cowboys?